Europe is rapidly urbanizing. In 1960, when Europe was largely recovered after the devastation of World War II, the continent was on the path to reconstruction both socially and economically. In 1960, around 40% of Europeans lived in rural areas. Keep in mind that the population of Europe in 1960 was also about 600 million across the continent, a lot less than today's best estimates of 745 million. In 2021, the percentage of people living in rural areas across Europe dropped to 24%. In 1960s Dublin, Ireland, the River Dodder was seen as the dividing line between urban and rural life. Today, in 2025, Dublin has sprawled out far beyond the river and now encroaches on the Dublin Wicklow Mountains to its south. In the future, if we get our ship together and start building houses, I believe that Dublin's expanse will continue to its north, south and west, eating smaller towns and villages as it grows. And this is only one example. Cities all over Europe have been expanding as people migrate from rural areas to urban areas. We're going to look at every European country's fastest growing city. And a quick disclaimer, I will only be reviewing these countries on screen, so sorry Georgia and the other Caucasus countries and Kazakhstan. Also, a lot of the figures I'm listing in this video are projections and estimates, so do take the numbers that you see with a pinch of salt, because you try counting how many people live in some city. See how hard it is? See how hard the work is? Starting off the list with the lowest growth in Plovdiv, Bulgaria, joined with Cluj-Napoca, Romania. Both of these have a stagnant growth rate at 0%. This is mostly because the population of Bulgaria and Romania are declining and have been since around the 1990s, thanks to emigration and a low birth rate. Next is Milan, Italy, with a growth rate of 0.93%. When you look at Italy's overall population growth over the last few years, it's not really been going up. Milan's population is being held up by students and foreign workers moving there. Next is Warsaw, Poland. This is the first of many capital cities on the list. Warsaw has grown at a rate of 1.12% in the last 5 years. Again, economic prosperity is the driving force for Warsaw's population growth. Lausanne, Switzerland has a growth rate of 1.23% and Stockholm, Sweden has a growth rate of 1.25%. And speaking of Sweden, has to be one of my favorite countries to go to. Last time I went to Malmo during National Sweden Day, and it was so much fun. I highly recommend it. You go and experience it. Moving on, we have Sarajevo in Bosnia and Herzegovina, growing at a rate of 1.46%. You'll see that capital cities are kind of common on this list for countries with smaller populations. Next is Vaduz, Liechtenstein. Vaduz has a growth rate of 1.75% since 2020. And fun fact about Liechtenstein, it's one of the largest producers of false teeth. So, don't know what you'll do with that information, but it's pretty cool. San Marino's capital, Città di San Marino, or the city of San Marino, was the fastest growing with a rate of 1.78%. Ljubljana, Slovenia grew by 2.1% and Lisbon, Portugal grew by 2.4%. I was honestly surprised to see that Portugal was able to push its way up the list, because haven't they been the dying man of Europe for how long now? Some 400 years or something like that? Minsk, Belarus makes its way to 36th place on the list with a growth rate of 2.48% in the last 5 years. Next in line is Tallinn, Estonia with a growth rate of 2.92%, with Leipzig, Germany just surpassing it with 3.05%. Then there's a jump from 34th to 33rd place with Utrecht, Netherlands almost a full percent ahead of Germany at a rate of 3.97%. Skopje, North Macedonia has a growth rate of 4.37%, with its neighbor or nemesis Greece 1 place ahead of it, with its fastest growing city being Heraklion at 4.7%. Next up we have Vienna, Austria, which is growing at a rate of 5.26%. Vienna's growth is mainly thanks to its geographical location, kind of being in the center of the Central European countries and being a rich city in that region. Pristina, Kosovo is next with a growth rate of 5.37%. Toulouse en France connaît une croissance de 5.88%. The British Isles are next on the list, with Cambridge in the UK growing at a rate of 6.3% and Dublin, Ireland overtaking the UK with a growth rate of 6.56%. 25th place goes to Turnhout, Belgium, and Monte Carlo, Monaco, which both have a growth rate of 6.67%. I guess all the rich people moved to Monaco and Turnhout. Cyprus is up next, with its fastest growing city being Limassol, which is growing at a rate of 6.87%. Limassol's growth is thanks to a construction boom, which allows more people to move here, and then more construction, which brings more people. A few more capital cities coming up, with Oslo, Norway at 22nd place with a growth rate of 7.2%. Vilnius, Lithuania is 21st with a rate of 8.27%. And 20th place goes to Tirana, Albania with 8.5%. Andorra is next with Andorra la Vella growing at a rate of 8.7% in 19th place. Denmark is up next, and just saying, Denmark has to be my favourite country in Europe. I've been there a few times now, and it's always great to go there. Silkeborg, Denmark is its fastest growing city at 9.1%. Big little boy Luxembourg is next, with its fastest growing city being Luxembourg City, which is growing at a rate of 9.68%. Vatican City is next, and yes, I did decide to include Vatican City just to see where it ranks on the European stage. Vatican City only has one city, being the entire country, and it has a growth rate of 10.36%. And now that I'm looking at a map of the Vatican, wouldn't have to be the largest garden to country ratio, you know what I mean? Someone check that out, please. Balashaya, Russia, with a growth rate of 10.48%, and its fellow cold neighbour Finland is 14th, with Finland's fastest growing city being Espoo at 10.69%. Both of these cities are just outside their corresponding country's capital city, and these cities have a special name of Satellite City, which is basically a city that grew thanks to the rapid expansion of the major city it's near. Satellite cities are usually more affordable to live and have a solid transportation link to the major city it's near, making these an appealing place to live. Antalya, Turkey has a growth rate of 11.2%, and Jumalia, Latvia after it with a growth rate of 13%. Pula, Croatia is close by with a growth rate of 13.46%. Now into the top 10 fastest growing cities in Europe. And just a quick reminder, please like and subscribe as it helps me out a lot. Thank you. Number 10 is Novi Sad, Serbia, with a growth rate of 16.53%. Novi Sad is Serbia's second largest city after Belgrade, and its growth is mostly due to a growing IT sector and increasing tourism, which makes more people want to move there. Number 9, we have Irpin, Ukraine, with a growth rate of 16.6%. Now, a short disclaimer about Ukraine is that I couldn't find any information on its 2025 population data because of, well, the ongoing war. So the best I could get was from 2015 to 2020, which gave me Irpin, which is another satellite city outside the capital, Kiev. At number 8 is Milovice in the Czech Republic, which has a growth rate of 16.67%. Its growth is mostly thanks to an abundance of affordable housing and not being a million miles away from Prague. After 8 is 7, where we see Budva, Montenegro at 16.84%. Budva's population growth is mainly linked to an influx of foreigners moving here. 6th place goes to Keflavik og Nordvik in Iceland. Its population growth is 22.22% and is because of the overall population growth across Iceland as its energy production services grow and requires more people to work and set up lives there. Number 5 goes to Torrevieja in Spain, whose population has a growth rate of 22.89%. Again, Torrevieja's population growth is mainly due to increasing tourism, exposing the city to the rest of the world, and increasing migration. Number 4 is Chisinau, Moldova's capital city, which has a growth rate of 23.49%. The population of Chisinau has been growing because of inward migration in search of economic prosperity and a better life from people living in more rural regions of the country. 3rd place with a bronze medal goes to the small island nation of Malta, with their fastest growing city being St. Paul's Bay with a growth rate of 25.81%. Malta is one of the EU's most densely populated countries and attracts many foreign workers to live in Malta with their strong economy and with their many but expensive houses. 2nd place gets a silver medal and goes to Dunakeszi in Hungary, which is once again a satellite city on the outskirts of Budapest. Its population growth rate is about 48.8% in the last 5 years. Its significant growth is due to its location and cheaper housing when compared to the capital Budapest. Europe's fastest growing city in the last 5 years goes to Zvizdavlou in Slovakia with a growth rate of 75.03%. Its growth is all because of its close proximity to Bratislava, Slovakia's capital city, and its cheaper and larger houses for new families to move to. These are only the cities though, and it gives you an idea of what population growth across Europe will be like in the next few years. And if you know somewhere that should have been included on the list but isn't, then please leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed.